It may be either from the court, or if the FIR has been lodged, then the police docket from the in charge of the police station. When we conduct the examination, the medical examination, the examination like the history, the date and time of the incident, any history of that, use of any duplicate, and the degree of penetration is specifically asked for. Any history of pain or suffering is also asked for. After taking the history from the victim, then we ask that person to observe the gait of the victim, whether he is walking normally or he is having any abnormal gait because of the pain. Use of any loose after close scrutiny of the clothes may be preserved for further examination by the laboratory. We proceed on to the general examination. In this, the general physical examination is conducted, including the development of the secondary sexual characteristics. Now, if it is between two males, then we have to see whether the age which is stated, it is consistent with the development of the secondary sexual characteristic, or if the victim is a small child, there are no secondary sexual characteristics which may be present. Then any injuries which may be present on the body, it may be on the head or on the face, on the limbs, on the chest. There may be abrasions present, there may be bruises present, there may be lacerations present. Any injuries which are present, they are recorded, because they may be indicating the resistance by the victim or use of the excessive force by the assailant. They should be written down. Now, the general informations or the biodata, in which the name, age, sex, age which is stated by the victim or the guardian, the address, any occupation if the person is of age, then time, date, and place of the examination, two identification marks, they are also noted. And if the person gives the age as more than 18 years, then we may also ask the number of the computerized national identity card, that is to be noted. And then written informed consent should be obtained. In case of non-consenting victim, we cannot perform the examination. This is the consent for the medical examination. And first of all, there has to be the consent which is given before the magistrate. Then history date. time of incident, history of defecation after the incident, change of the clothing, bathing, washing the anal area after the act, use of any lubricant by the assailant, degree of penetration. These are specifically asked for from the victim. Any history of pain or burning sensation associated with walking or with defecation is specifically asked for, and the gait of the victim is also noted because that is indicative of the pain. Clothings are examined for any damage. There may be ripping of the seams, there may be loss of the button, there may be damage to the fabric. Then the clothes, they may show, particularly on the inside, loose pubic hair which may be from the assailant, stain of blood or semen, lubricant of the feces. These are very good specimen for DNA examination. Then we come to the general examination. In the general examination, the physical examination, including the development of the secondary sexual characteristics in women. Any injuries which are present on the body, anywhere on the body, they are noted. They may be in the form of abrasion or bruises or redness or swelling or lacerations. Any injuries may be present there. The local examination, the anal examination is performed in the knee elbow position. Now the findings during the local examination may be variable because there are a number of factors which may affect the possibility of finding physical evidence of anal intercourse. This is frequency of the act. If the passive agent is a habitual passive agent, then the findings will be different. And if it is the first incidence, then the findings will be different. The time interval between the anal intercourse and the examination, because many of the findings they may be lost due to the natural process of healing. Age of the victim, build, and the size of the orifice in the individual. Because if there is a disparity between the size of the penis and the age of the victim, the victim is of small age, then of course we think that the more injuries may be visible. The degree of force applied during the act, that is also very important because it is going to lead to various injuries. The size of the penile organ in relation to the anal canal or anal orifice, and the cooperativeness of the partner. If the partner is non-consenting, then the chances that injuries will be present, it is much more. Any lubricants, if it is used, then the chances of injuries they are reduced. The non-habitual in which the first time anal intercourse has taken place, and we presume that this is against the consent of the victim. Lesions are marked in children because of the great disproportion in the size between the anal orifice of the victim and the penis of the accused. The adult size penis and the anal orifice of the small victim, there is a disparity between them, and this causes injuries. A perianal and rectal swab should be taken first. Before conducting any examination, we should take the swabs so that the semen may not be lost. Any hair which are found matted, which may be present in the anal area or in the pubic area, or any other foreign object like hair or fiber, should be preserved for examination. Matted hair are taken and they are examined for the presence of semen, whereas foreign hair should be preserved for DNA examination. Specifically asked question is there any pain or tenderness during examination? We have to write it that during examination there is tenderness present or pain is being felt. The smear of lubricants and the loose foreign pubic hair found in or around the anus, that is to be written down. Fresh or dried semen may be present around or inside the anus. Injuries may be present in the anal verge. Superficial injuries include perianal abrasions, bruising, erythema, that is redness, hematoma, that is a large bruise, correction of blood, edema, and anal fissures. Anal fissures may be present as a disease, but the chances of anal fissure being present due to the anal sexual intercourse, it is much more common. The deeper injuries, they include laceration of the anal mucosa of the tears extending up onto the perineum, complete transection of the external anal sphincter, and perforation of the rectosigmoid. This is actually not seen in most of the cases, but if the victim is a very small child, then these findings may be present, particularly if much force has been used by the assailant. Abrasions may be present around the anal opening. These are produced by the frictional shearing of the penetrating penis, but may be caused by the fingernails or due to poor hygiene. So, due to poor hygiene, actually abrasions are not present, but they are excoriations which resemble abrasion. Extensive abrasions are seen when there is disproportion between the anal orifice and the penis of the accused person. Anal fissures, that is the split in the skin of the anal margins, may involve the external skin and or may extend within the anal canal to mucocutaneous junction, and they are usually present in the posterior quadrant. It is generally wedge-shaped, triangular, directed radially towards the anal canal. Hematoma may be present, which is diffused and present around the anal margin with obliteration of the normal anal skin fold, or it appears as localized swelling. It may be bluish in color. There may be anal prolapse. You can see the anal mucosa outside the anal sphincter. First intercourse may result in over-tearing of the anal canal and underlying sphincter muscle, or splitting of the skin and production of the anal fissure, or it may just cause abrasion or contusion of the opening. Now, digital examination, when it is performed in such a victim, it is extremely painful, and with the insertion of the finger, we may find that there is loss of elasticity of the anal sphincter, and the tone also is reduced because of the split which is present, tear which is present. In the end, the anal canal and the lower rectum is examined with the help of a proctoscope, and if there is spasm of the sphincter, it may be carried out under anesthesia, so that we may be able to see the extent of the injuries, and also it may be helpful in taking the swabs. In the habitual passive agent, the person who is acting as a male prostitute and is indulging in anal sexual intercourse daily, there are different findings which may be present. Like the mucous membrane, it becomes smooth. In a non-habitual person, the mucous membrane is corrugated. Then large fissures may be present, which may be in the healing stage or they may be infected. Small fissures may also be present. The sphincter becomes very lax. It does not have any tone. Venereal disease, evidence of venereal disease may be present in the form of condylomata, or there may be herpes present. Discharge may be present. The habitual passive agent may be showing shaving of the anal hair, whereas the pubic hair may not be shaved. And the blood stains, they are usually not observed. Loose foreign hair and smear of the lubricants may be present. The foreign hair, these are from the assailant. Perianal skin may be thickened and keratinized. The person does not experience any pain or tenderness during the digital examination. Anal sphincter is laxed. The opening is patulous, it is wide open. The canal is dilated and there may be loss of fine symmetrical rugal pattern along with the congested or dilated veins. The lateral traction test, external anal sphincter relaxes reflexly when bimanual traction is applied to the buttock. In a person who is not habituated to anal intercourse, the reaction of the anal sphincter is opposite. When we laterally retract the skin, the sphincter closes very tightly, but here it is going to relax and we may be able to see the inside of the anal canal or the mucous membrane of the rectum may be visible. And the anal opening is deeply situated, then usually due to absorption of the subcutaneous fat. If a person is habitually in the act of anal intercourse, then what happens that the subcutaneous fat which is present in the perianal area that becomes resolved and the opening becomes deeply situated, and it is known as a funnel shaped depression of the buttocks. This may be present as a sign of habitual passive agent, but it may also be present as an anatomical variation, or if the person has lost quite a lot of weight suddenly due to any disease. Now the rectum, it becomes thickened, congested, and prolapse of the mucosa with disappearance of the radial fold may be present. Other signs are, it is the chances of venereal diseases, they are much more. Various venereal diseases may be present and the chance is much more in the habitual passive agent as compared to non-habitual passive agents or those people who are not involved in the anal intercourse. And AIDS is one of them. Cryptitis, that is infection of the between the mucosal fold, it is quite commonly present. Piles are present, fissures are present, and anal scarring is present from the healed previous injuries that may be seen. Homosexual mannerism is seen regarding the dress, gait, manner of speaking, and cosmetics. The person, though a male, may be dressing as a female. The gait also is a particular type of gait. The manner of talking is also different from the other males. Cosmetics may be used by the females. Now, the opinion, when it is to be given, it should be restrained, but it should not be vague. We are not to say in any case that anal intercourse has occurred or has not occurred, especially on the matter when lack of experience make it dangerous to be assertive. So it is a difficult examination and the opinion to be given, it is also very difficult. But if we have taken specimen and if we find that there is presence of semen inside the anal canal or in the rectum, then of course it is an evidence of anal sexual intercourse. So the opinion is based upon, first of all, the presence of semen or the seminal stain in or around the anus. If it is present in the anus, then it is a conclusive proof that penetration has occurred and anal sexual intercourse has taken place. If the anal region is showing smearing and soiling with the lubricants, that is also a proof that anal intercourse may have taken place, because in the anus there is naturally no lubricants are present. In the vagina there are Bartholian glands present which lubricate the canal. Here there is no such tissue present, no such glands are present. That's why the assailant may be using lubricants. So with the presence of lubricants, that is a very strong sign, very corroborative sign that anal intercourse has taken place. Smear of the clothes with the semen, blood, lubricants, or any other material like fiber or hair. So that is also corroborative evidence that anal intercourse may have taken place. Injuries which are present in the or around the anus, that these injuries also indicate that anal intercourse has taken place. Foreign hair may be present, changes in the general anatomy of the anal opening and the surrounding area, that is also an evidence of anal intercourse or habitual. These findings are more marked in the habitual passive agent. There may or may not be any residual findings from either the single or repeated acts of anal intercourse, particularly if there is a time interval between the incidents and the examination, or the person has had defecation or has washed the area. Signs may be minimal when the lubricant has been used or the organ has been introduced slowly into the anus without using undue force. Moreover, the acute sign of penetration, they are healed in about 24 to 48 hours. So when the time lapse, it is more, then the findings, they are going to become less and less. The time between the time interval between the alleged offense and the examination is wide in documentation of the findings. Also, the semen cannot survive inside the rectum for more than 24 or at the most 48 hours. There may be non-specific findings present like erythema, that is redness, perianal abrasions, pigmentary venous changes along with the history. These may be suggestive of an alleged anal contact, but they are not sure or conclusive proof. If any dilatation of the anus is present, opinion should be given that it is consistent with entry of the penis. But many cases, if the person has passed constipated stools, then the anus may be petulant. In the pregnant woman or the woman who have had a delivery recently, the anal opening may be patulous. Presence of semen, feces, soft paraffin, and pubic hair on the cloth is almost diagnostic of sodomy. It is very, very strong evidence that anal intercourse has taken place. Particularly if the victim is of small age, pre-pubertal, then we know that the semen is from the assailant, feces is from the victim, paraffin has been used by the assailant as a lubricant, pubic hair also are from the assailant. Absolute proof of sodomy is the presence of semen inside the anus. That is going to indicate that penetration has occurred and emission or ejaculation of semen has also taken place. Diagnostic finding is transection of the anus, which may not be present in every case. Perforation of the rectosigmoidal colon, that is also quite rare. It may be present only in the cases where there is a great disproportionate, uh, there is a great disproportion between the victim and the assailant. Recovery of the seminal products from the anorectal canal, like the semen or the sperms or the DNA and the perianal scarring because of the repeated penetration and repeated injuries. That is also a conclusive proof. Now, sometimes the police also apprehends the assailant, the active agent of sodomy. So, the examination of such a person may be required. The prerequisite and the preliminary particulars are the general information, which is name, age, sex, address, occupation, time, date, and place of examination, two identification marks. Also, if the age is more than 18 years, then the number of the national identity card, history of his version, whatever he has to say that is also written. The examination is, first of all, the clothes examination. Clothes are examined for the presence of stains, which may be of blood. Blood may be from the victim, or blood may be from the assailant himself. There may be injury present on the penis, and there may be blood present due to that injury. Fecal matter, which is generally from the victim onto the clothes of the assailant, semen, which is from the assailant, or mud may be present and mud may be present from the site. So the presence of seminal fluid on the clothes of the assailant, they are not so important as the presence of semen on the cloth or body of the victim. The accused is examined for the abrasion and contusions on the glans, penis, or tearing of the frenulum, because if the person is resisting, The victim is resisting and the accused has used excessive force, then he may sustain injury onto his penis, which gives an information about recent sexual intercourse. Forceful penetration against resistance may produce tear or bruising of the frenulum or prepuce and abrasion of the glass penis. That is an indication that the person has recently been involved in sexual activity. There may be traces of feces and lubricant about his genitalia, and the peculiar smell of anal glands may be present. So we may have to take specimen, we may have to take swabs from the glans penis or the shaft of the penis and send it for further examination for the presence of lubricant or feces, and also DNA examination. There may be presence of blood, seminal stains, venereal disease, and foreign hair. Foreign hair may be hair from the victim. In habitual active agent, the penis is usually twisted with the constriction at some distance from the glans due to constriction force of the sphincter ani, but this may not be present in every case. It may be present, but not always. Specimens which are to be preserved, first of all, the clothes, especially if these are the same clothes which were worn at the time of incidents, and if they show any stain like blood or lubricant or semen, any stains, so the clothes they are taken. Swabs from the anal canal, this is for the detection of semen. Swabs from the bite mark, if any bite mark is present, which is for the detection of the saliva. And from both these swabs, we can also do the DNA examination, blood, which is taken as a control, nail scrapings, where the tissue or the blood from the victim, from the assailant may be present in the under the nail beds of the victim, matted and foreign pubic hair, and if the victim is of age after the puberty may have pubic hair or anal hair, so we have to have control hair, his own hair, for comparison. From the active agent, the clothing, the swabs from the glans. In the swab from the glans, we have to confirm the presence of lubricant, fecal matter, or the DNA from the victim onto the body of the assailant. Urethral discharge, which will be taken, and it is going to tell us about the presence of any venereal disease. Blood, which is a control sample here, pubic hair, which are also a control sample, nail scraping, where the tissues or the blood from the victim may be present under the nails of the assailant, urine, which may be taken for toxicological examination. Now, in Pakistan, the unnatural sexual offences, they are described in not article but section 377 of Pakistan Penal Code. Whoever voluntarily has carnal intercourse, carnal means physical, bodily, carnal intercourse against the order of the nature with any man, woman, or animal shall be punished with imprisonment for life or with imprisonment of either description for a term which shall not be less than 2 years nor more than 10 years. So he can be awarded any imprisonment from 2 years up to 10 years. Shall also be liable to fine. There is a difference between fine and diyat, because the diyat is to be given to the victim or the relatives of the victim, and the fine is going to go to the government exchequer. Penetration is sufficient to constitute the carnal intercourse necessary to the offence described in this section. This should be not article but section 377 PPC, Pakistan Penal Code. Now, another sexual perversion is lesbianism or tribalism. This is a female homosexuality in which two women, by mutual act of sexual indulgence, achieve gratification. This is sexual intercourse between two females. So the facts are that many lesbian women they are masculine in type, possibly due to endocrinal disturbance and are indifferent towards men. They do not have any interest in men and they prefer females. Lesbians who are morbidly jealous of one another when rejected may commit homicide, suicide, or they may cause first homicide and then they may commit suicide. Lesbianism is usually indulged by the women who have repulsion for the men or who suffer from nymphomania. The predominant forms of sexual activity to achieve orgasm are orogenital or manual genital stimulation. Self stimulation of the clitoris is frequently the preferred method. Use of artificial phallus, anal stimulation, and other practices are infrequently used. Many a time, an artificial penis, which is known as phallus, that is worn by one of the participants and that is penetrated into the vagina or the anal canal of the partners. The acts they include kissing, massaging the breast and the private parts, generalized body contact, mutual rubbing of the private parts. On examination, the external genitalia may show scratch mark or bite marks. Otherwise, not many findings are present. Medically, not many findings are present. The word lesbian generally referred to an inhabitant of the island of Lesbos in the ancient Greece. The term has come to have its current meaning due to the ancient Greek poet Sappho, who lived on the island. Some of her poems concern love between women. That's why it is known as lesbianism. This led to the term Sapphonism being used for the lesbianism. Tribadism or tribbing, commonly known by its scissoring position, is a sex act in which a woman rubs her vulva against her partner's body for sexual stimulation, especially for ample stimulation of the clitoris. This may involve female to female genital contact or a female rubbing her vulva against her partner's thigh, stomach, buttocks, arm, or any other body part, excluding the mouth. A variety of sex positions are practiced, including the missionary position. Various nymphomania is abnormal and excessive, unstable desire in a woman for sexual intercourse. Excessive libido in a female. Styrisis, morbid, unstable sexual need or desire in a male. Homosexuality is a phenomenon wherein an individual, male or female, prefer a partner of the same sex for sexual activity and intimate bonding, not the opposite sex. The female prefers a female and the male prefers a male. The most frequent form of male homosexual activity is fellatio, that is oral coitus, and masturbation. Anal intercourse occurs much less often. So, fellatio is oral intercourse. Masturbation is self-satisfaction. In the past, homosexual couples often lived together but downplayed their relationship in the public to avoid discrimination. So, people they used to live together but they did not own their relationship in the society. Many couples now assert the legitimacy of their relationship through marriage and parenthood. Now, because in many countries in the West, they have legalized the marriage between the same sex. So now people they openly claim that they are husband and wife or they are partners. Lesbian couples are conceiving and bearing children through various artificial methods like infertile heterosexual couples. So they may have artificial insemination by a donor. Adoption is another means to parenthood for gay and lesbian couple, they may adopt a child. Bestiality or zoophilia, it is sexual intercourse with an animal where either the vagina of the animal or anal or the oral orifice may be used. All the animals may be used, even the birds. The usual victims are pets and the farm animals. Generally, the sheep and goats also are used by the male and dogs or cats by the female as they are easily available and are relatively docile. They can be handled. The doctor may sometimes be asked to examine the genital injuries or infection in a man acquired through such episode. Sure evidence of bestiality is finding of the human spermatozoa in the genital tract or in the orifice of the animal. Penis may be contaminated with the fecal matter, with an secretion or hair of the animal. So we can also do the DNA examination and it is going to prove that this is from an animal. The hair is that of an animal or the vaginal secretion are also from an animal. There may be injury to the penis or there may be stains of the dung or general body injuries or blood stain. But generally, eyewitness is required. Now, buccal coitus follatio, it denotes penile or vaginal oral sexual intercourse and can be performed by both male and female. It is also known as sin of Gomorrah. ये तौरात में और कई जगह पे लिखा हुआ है उस जगह का नाम जो था ना गमोरिया था गमोरिया और शहर का नाम था तो उसको इंग्लिश में गुमराह कहते हैं और the sinful practice the people of that city used to indulge in because it is alleged that the buccal coitus was prevalent in Gomorrah, the biblical twin city of Sodom. एक सदोम था और एक मोरिया था गमोरिया. Fellatio, which is a Latin word to suck, means oral stimulation of the penis either by the female or by the male. It is sort of oral intercourse. Homilingus means oral stimulation of the female genitalia by the male. Earlier, buccal coitus was considered as a sexual deviation, but nowadays it is considered normal sexual foreplay. A person who is forced to perform fellatio may have trauma in the oral cavity, such as petechial hemorrhages of the palate or the posterior fornix. Tears to the labial frenum may be present from forceful traction on the upper lip. If the flesher scalp hair is grasped forcibly during the traction, alopecia may be seen on the scalp. If the victim has fellatio or cunnilingus performed on him or her, acute signs include petechia, abrasions, bite marks to the genitalia. The only material evidence of buccal coitus is the presence of seminal products including spermatozoa in the oral cavity and nasal pharynx of the later, the dependent upon time since the contact and the history of ejaculation. Buccal mucosal cells may be present on the external genitalia of the subject. Mouth and pharynx should be swabbed with non-absorbent cotton swabs, and the smear should be made similar to that made from the vaginal material. Culture for gonorrhea should be taken from the nasopharynx. That is also a proof. Gonococci may be present in the nasopharynx from the ejaculation. Next, we are going to do the sexual perversions. वैसे तो टाइम पूरा हो गया है सिर्फ 5 मिनट रह गए मुनीबा अगर दूसरी वो लगा दें दूसरा टॉपिक मैं चाह रही थी 2 होते हैं लेकिन टाइम हमारा बड़ा ज़ाया हो गया कोई बात नहीं 5 मिनट इधर लगा दें ये खत्म करनी होगी
कहाँ पर है स्लाइड दूसरी?
जो आपने जहाँ से लगाया था वहीं पे वापस चलें। ये सेक्शन क्वेश्चंस जी
दिस
जी
वन
नहीं ये नहीं
ये
सेक्शुअल परवर्शंस
ये
जी
इसे क्लोज कर दो।
जी The next topic today is various sexual perversions or sexual deviations. These are conditions in which sexual excitement or orgasm is associated with act of imaginary that are considered unusual, abnormal, or deviant within the culture. Paraphilia, previously known as sexual perversions or sexual deviation, is the experience of intense sexual arousal to atypical objects or situations or fantasies or behavior or an individual. Such attraction may be labeled as fetishism. It is a sexual fixation on a non-living object or non-genital body part. The object of interest is called the fetish. The person who has a fetish for that object is known as fetishist. In common parlance, the word fetish is used to refer to any sexually arousing stimuli, not all of which meet the medical criteria for fetishism. The broader use of fetish covers part or feature of the body, including obesity and body modifications, certain objects, situations, activities such as smoking, paraphilia such as urophilia, necrophilia, and corpophilia have been described as fetishes. In a review of 48 cases of clinical fetishism, the fetish they include clothing. Generally, this is the clothing of the opposite sex. So the male they fix their interest on the female clothing, particularly the undergarments. About 58% of the people they have an abnormal attachment to the female clothing. Some people they have got the same attachment to rubber or shoes or the body parts or leather, soft material or fabrics. But most of the case, it is the clothing of the females, the underclothing. The person may have sexual satisfaction without any sexual intercourse just by looking or handling the clothes or these footwear or rubber or leather. The people who have got an abnormal association with the body parts or the features, 47 belong to the group about feet, podophilic. They have got fixation on the feet, 9% about the body. Some have got the fixation about the fluids like urine, like feces, milk, saliva, vaginal secretions. 9% have got fixation about the body size, Some have got fixation about the hair fetish. If they see the beautiful hair of any person, they are going to go and they are going to touch those hair and feel satisfaction, sexual satisfaction by this act. And 5% they are going to they are going to have fetish about the muscles, which is known as muscle worships. Lesser popular objects or the groups, they focus on navel, legs, body hair, mouth, nails, among other things. But most common is the female clothes. About the clothing, about one third of the people, they have got a fetishism about the clothes which are worn on the leg or the buttock, like stockings, skirts. Some have got shoe fetishism, then 12% about underwear, 9% about the whole body wear like jackets. Less popular object groups focus on head wear, stethoscope, wrist wear, and diapers. Then there is another important aspect which is known as erotic stimulation or asphyxiation. It is the use of choking to increase the pleasure in the sex. The fetish also includes an individualized part that involves choking oneself during the act of masturbation, which is known as autoerotic asphyxiation. Asphyxiation may be carried out by hanging or by strangulation or sometimes by covering the face and head by some plastic or polythene bag. This usually involves a person being connected and strangled by a homemade device that is tight enough to give them pleasure but not tight enough to suffocate them to death. This is dangerous due to the issue of hyperactive pleasure seeking, which can result in strangulation when there is no one to help if the device gets too tight and strangles the user. This is quite common. The fetishism, it defines fetishism as a reliance on non-living object for sexual arousal and satisfaction. It is only considered as a disorder when fetishism activities are the foremost source of sexual satisfaction, become so compelling or unacceptable as to cause distress or interfere with the normal sexual intercourse. There are other abnormal or perverted sexual behavior like sadism, masochism, transvestism, voyeurism, exhibitionism, fetishism, or frotteurism, or pedophilia. Sadism is the person gets sexual gratification by infliction of pain or physical cruelty like beating, biting, whipping, cigarette burn, or ill-treating the partner. Multiple injuries are inflicted on any body parts, but breast and external genitalia are generally selected. Hello? Hello? Now, generally, what happens that sexual intercourse is replaced by these practices. This perversion is more common in the males. Sadism is derived from the French writer Marquis de Sade, who regarded sexually deviant act as being natural and which was apparent both in his writing and action. हेलो हेलो हाँ जी बस मेरा लेक्चर ख़त्म हो गया जी बस खत्म हो गया टाइम हो गया मैं अभी फोन करूँगी मैं अभी फोन करूँगी अभी नीचे आती हूँ तो फोन करूँगी लाइब्रेरी से बाहर अच्छा अच्छा मुनीबा अब टाइम तो खत्म हो गया, ये खत्म नहीं है, फिर मैं कल ही लूंगी, ठीक है ना, क्योंकि आज काफी टाइम वो कनेक्शन की वजह से गाया हो गया, तो कल का लेक्चर मेरा छोटा है, तो ये भी मैं उसी में ही करूंगी। मैं ये ले लूँ अपना?
हाँ जी, ये देखिए। थर्ड ईयर का नेक्स्ट लेक्चर किसका है? नेक्स्ट लेक्चर किसका है? कहाँ है डॉक्टर फातिमा?
अच्छा, एक चीज मुझे अगर आप कंफर्म कर दें कि मेरा कल क्या टाइम है?
कल के टाइमिंग देख के बताओ मैम का।
फोरेंसिक का कल का लेक्चर किस टाइम में है?
टाइम टेबल पे फोरेंसिक का लेक्चर देखो।
मेरा ख्याल है 12 से 1 है, लेकिन फिर भी कंफर्म करना चाहते हैं।